Good day, everyone. So I'm just going to cover my weekly analysis, what I'm looking at this week. And this is for the week commencing. This is Sunday, the 16th of February, 2020. I'm starting off here with the US dollar index. So yeah, we had a really nice follow through from last week. It is nice and bullish. It has now hit 99, which is a significant level. And actually a pullback into the previous highs, closer towards 98, into this area to set up for a retracement and entry into that trend would make sense to me. But it is certainly now at a key level. It's a little bit overextended price-wise. Looking at it on the weekly, just noting that historical resistance at the moment, and also here the bullishness, that maintaining that bullishness and heading up into the highs. So, but historically, I can just see that there is some strong resistance there, but there's no doubt that it's continuing to climb. And actually, if you recall, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about how we'd shifted very subtly into a potential bearish kind of setup here on the weekly that I have been monitoring, and actually, it's now completely just destroyed that by breaking these previous highs. So, in effect, that is not relevant anymore. So at the moment, yes, looking at that and the idea of a stronger US dollar this week, but it is overdue for a retracement. Then moving across to euro dollar here, same thing again. There is no doubt this is one of the biggest sort of sustained moves that we've had in quite a while, and it is overdue for a normal, natural, healthy retracement. It's broken significant lows on the weekly, and you can see here, if you look at it on a monthly basis, we're starting to head into kind of newer territory that we haven't been in while going back to 2017. And actually, if we start to head down, we might then actually be free to head all the way down towards 1.05. Okay, so a bit of room there, but certainly due for a retracement, and then the market can decide what it wants to do at that point in time. But generally bearish across the board. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. I'm going to have a look at these other majors as well. So cable, not looking as bearish, and in fact, it's still trying to maintain its hold up here as well, trying to stay above the previous high. So that's not necessarily as bearish. Then looking at Aussie dollar, slightly weaker, but also at the same time not as weak as the euro dollar. Okay, so staying in this area. Then also looking at Kiwi dollar, and although these are a little bit weak, they're not as weak as the euro is. So if we just jump across, have a look at dollar yen, which kind of does its own thing anyway. It's still largely within its monthly range. So that's really what I expect to happen. No matter what else, the dollar yen is going to do its thing. Shorter, possibly shorter trading opportunities, but there's no longer term trend at this point in time. I think they're actively, and this is hypothetical, this is not fact-based or evidence-based, but I'm of the opinion that the Japanese actively trade their own currency to keep it within a range because they're predominantly export-based. So I'm happy to be taken to task on that, but that's just a hypothesis at this point in time. And looking here again at dollar Swissy, it's largely within its range against the US dollar. Okay, so that looks pretty much the same. It's a downtrend on the monthly, downtrend on the weekly, but it is now certainly an uptrend on the daily. So supporting a stronger dollar in the shorter term there. Then looking at dollar CAD. Okay, so dollar CAD is also largely range bound. So dollar yen, dollar CAD, dollar Swissy, not really tied to trends the same way that Euro, GBP, Aussie, and Kiwi are. Now this is where it gets interesting. If I just do a quick jump across Euro GBP, if you just look at it on the daily here, you can see Euro GBP, Euro looking quite weak against the pound, Euro yen, Euro definitely in a strong downtrend against Japanese yen, Euro Swissy. By the way, on my watch list, certainly for a retracement back into these previous levels. For a trading opportunity later this week. A little bit of bullish divergence coming in there. So it's getting close to a point where it's going to look to do a bit more of a retracement on the weekly. It's certainly a bit overextended there. But that daily trend is pretty good. Euro CAD, also big move to the downside there. Euro Aussie, all considering how weak Aussie and Kiwi have been, but this is also still looking nice and bearish. And we got Euro Kiwi, okay, also moving quite a bit to the downside. Whereas when I look at pound yen, for example, you can see it's largely, actually, if anything, it's in an uptrend. We look at pound Swissy, is in an uptrend, looking good. Pound CAD is actually looking more bullish or sideways at least than bearish. Pound Aussie, certainly looking bullish. There's a really nice bullish candle here on the weekly, so that's looking good for long opportunities. Pound Kiwi, the same thing. It's up at notable resistance, but it is looking more bullish than bearish. So I just wanted to note the difference there between the euro and the pound. The pound is either holding or climbing. The euro is pretty much heading lower. So we have a weaker euro, which is supporting a stronger dollar as well, and we have sterling is pretty much doing fine on its own. Okay, so just want to draw your attention to that. So I will be looking for trading opportunities on the strongest trends for weaker euro, for example, and at the moment, although we are due for a retracement, the prevailing trend appears to be bullish for the US dollar and showing a weaker euro.